like a moment when I realized that my leadership has shaped my legacy.
Blackpink.
Like a moment when I realized that my leadership has shaped my legacy. Yeah, so this is the part I would actually say that when I was running the organization, we have this thing, my organization, because we are very young. I believe Neil also your organization, you like to work with young people. Right? It's
Yes,
a
that's
very
right.
young organization and it's very dynamic, very vibrant. Similar.
Yeah.
So 14 years ago, when I was running my organization, most of them, right, in those years that I was running my organization in the financial education arena, the average age is about 28 years old. So all the more, as a leader, I need to be able, right, to lead them, and that's where when I see the age, I realize my leadership is so important to leave a legacy in them because I may be about like 40 years old, but they are only in their 20s. So even if I were to leave for whatever reason, touch wood, now people would just leave like that, all right. And you may say, right, I'll pass away or what, or maybe I'm not working in the organization, but they do know what is the impact that we are going to do in impacting those people's lives. So
That's right.
these are the things that when I start to see that when they step out, the moment how I realize that my leadership of shaping this legacy is because they can step out and of my organization, that means they resign or they leave the organization and they can do well. That is the key. I'm very happy that my team member doesn't stay with my team. They go out, do things that they want to do, and they continue to do well. That is what I think that the legacy, the moment when I think, wow, it's working. Yeah. How about
Yes.
you? Dee? Yes.
I'm almost similar with the story you just shared because
Mm,
I would never go deep to like how the style of the leader can impact everybody's life.
mm,
Even you work with them for a week
yes.
or a month or like few days, or
Mm,
even you work with them in a short project, you really remember. I tell it that to myself that today even you have few hours with this group of people, you
mm,
may change their life of how they believe, of how they think,
yes.
and you are leader whole life. You are leader
Mm,
no matter what, where you go. Somehow your energy, your mindset, the way you sharing things is really shape, like change people vibration, I find, right? And when I start be a leader and I hear a lot of story when people come to me and with the same feedback, they like, I never worked with anyone like you before, or when I work with you, I feel like home, I feel like family, I feel like you listen, you understand my
mm,
problem. In the past, when I work and I tell my boss this and they don't want to listen to me, that's when I realize that even all that people, it give negative impact in all these people heart and scar them. It means how about a good thing that I'm going to share to them? It's also affect the same thing, right?
mm.
People can give scar to you. It means people also can heal you.
Yeah.
Different leader will give you a different impact in your life, and it keep remind myself better as a leader in every day. Trust it. Now I still have that in my habit routine. Even after this podcast, I have a class of like almost 200 people, and
Wow.
I still feel like it's a day for one. I'm start doing something. I tell myself, even today is not the first time you teach so many
Mm,
people. Remember, this is like a first time for somebody else that they're going to listen this, they're going to learn from this, they're going to take away, and they can be a better person. So do 100%, do your best to pass down the whatever you've been
mm,
get and learn and gain experience and knowledge, because universe will be there for you. And that sentence keep come to me before class always, and I never miss a day to say that, because I worry that when we numb our empathy, you know what I mean? Like,
mm.
because the empathy, we every day we hear the same sad story, every day we hear people talk negative. It's very hard for you to filter it to believe that the world still have good people, and
Mm,
people
yeah.
feel as a leader, if you come in the meeting room and you start roll eye, or you will think, oh, this group of people will be the same again, right? So it's like it's very hard. So for me, the moment I realized that when people come back to me and give me
Mm,
feedback to say
yeah.
that I did change their life.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the reason why we are in the education field. And I
Yeah.
really like it when more people go out taking what I've taught them. And you see, the first thing is, of course, when we have shared with them about this thing about the time was financial, and they practice it. When they practice it, it impacts not only themselves, but also their family members. And their family members maybe is going to impact other people as well. And some of my team members, they do it so well that they go out to set up companies, seemingly my competitor, but they're going to impact even more people,
Yep.
right? So that's how our leadership turn into this vision of going through this kind of education, turn into like our daily actions. And the key thing about, I think, for me, that I'm kind of like proud of myself and I believe me is daily actions, the
Yep.
little daily habits that we have. Yeah, which is also the reason why both of us can work very well together. Because when
Yeah.
we say it, we mean it, we do it. Yeah,
Yes.
right. So this is the case where people can see our daily behaviors, and it's not just about our team members, our
Yep.
children as well. So apart from us being leaders in the organization, we are also leaders in our right as a mother to lead our kids. So that's the reason why our children, I can see that both our children, me and my kids, they don't have really behavioral issues that
Yep.
I see some parents have. I was just talking to one of the parent, she's a single mom, and she keeps saying it's very difficult for her to communicate with her son who's only 10 years old because she has been pampering her son. So she does everything for her son. And this morning, the son is supposed to start school at 7:50. At 7:45, he's still at home. At 7:30, he has not wake up yet. I'm like,
Yeah.
what happened? Why isn't your kid like awake and doesn't he needs to go to school? Oh
Yep.
yeah, I had so difficult time. Every morning was just, a battling field. I have to get him to wake up and da 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 da. Da. I'm like, oh. So you see, that's the
Wow. I
legacy.
find my life is so easy when you say that. Then I'm like, huh? I don't have a difficult morning.
Me too. I never like, oh, is there a difficulty? Then you say, yeah, I even, the night before has to pack everything for him, put him in the school bag. And all he needs to do is just throw his tantrums every morning. And after that, get the bag. He doesn't even know what's in the bag. And then he go to school. I'm like, huh? Then I tell him, and he's 10 years old, he's 10 years old. He's
Yeah.
not like 6 years old or 5 year old. I said, when my kid is like after the primary one, second half of the year, okay, of course, the first half of the year needs a little bit of adjustment. I need to teach him or her, things like that. But by the second half of the year, I don't even bother, right? The time they need to do their homework, they do their homework, they need to pack their bag, they pack their bag, and so on. Right? The system has been in place. So that is the legacy in our daily activities. And I realized why her son has an issue waking up is because she also, if not for the son needing to go to school, I believe she will sleep late as well. Yeah. See, for us, maybe me and me, even though we don't need to go to work, I will tell you on a Saturday or Sunday, we'll still wake up at about 5:30 a.m., those kind of
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
This morning I wake up 5:30. So every day 5:30.
Yes. For me also, sometimes I ask myself this question. I wake up at 5:30 a.m. Do I need to do anything? I need meetings? Actually, no. But
Yeah.
the body clock just wake up and make sure
Yeah.
that I've got some of the things done. So it's a daily routine and a daily discipline. And this has been seen over the years that my kids, my team members have seen in me. So they know I'm very conscious about time. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that to me is an integrity. If we can
Yeah.
make it, we can make it. If we can't, quickly go and call the person. All right, we have to be, something has been delayed and so on. Right?
Yeah.
Rather than what happened to you, unless probably I fell sick until I couldn't wake up.
Of
Really?
course. Yeah.
Yeah, that cannot be helped, right? I was like, I can't even leave the phone, things I'm in coma or whatever. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if not, this is what we mean by everyday thing, that we can go in to it will turn into our vision in terms of our legacy. So of
Yes.
course, the next part we will ask, of course, it seems like, well, everything seems so smooth, but what are the challenges that we have, right? Yeah, to stay true to the legacy that we want to build.
Oh my God. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will come back with you with another episode and another amazing guest. Bye.